It's been so much fun for us, top down along the beach, having a great day. And this has really brought us together to have something to go, run around and have some fun in. I love the interior. I love the power behind it. I love being able to step on the gas and get out where I'm going. The power running boards are amazing because you have that comfort to be able to get into the vehicle, but then they're hidden away. So it still looks that very true traditional style Bronco. I can tell you, driving it around, it's almost distracting the number of people who are yelling and giving compliments and talking about how awesome it is. There's so many features on the vehicle that are just amazing. When we were going through the process of buying the vehicle, I think that there was no surprises. It was one of the smoothest experiences we've ever had. Obviously, the customer service, the timeline up front, knowing exactly what we were getting for what we were paying for, and being able to spec this out from, the engine to the year to the colors, the interiors. It's definitely exceeded what we would have expected, and definitely why we're going to come back to Velocity. My name is Leta Gardella. I work in global account management for a company that does ingredients into the food and beverage industry. My husband is president of a company called Sweetener Supply and also works in the food and beverage industry as well, so ingredients to those types of customers. We live in Fort Lauderdale. We've been here for 4 to 5 years. We've come from the Midwest, from Chicago, like so many others in South Florida. We still spend our summers up north to escape the heat down here. We have a couple daughters. They're twins who are 21 years old and in college, and they are very excited to take a ride in the Bronco. They've not yet seen it. So my husband's father collected Thunderbirds and Mustangs, and he's been around those since he was young. He was always been really drawn to them, I think just because of the appeal with his father having them. For me, it was more of the Bronco style and the restored truck or the old truck style, just because of how I grew up. And like I said, we've rotated a couple Mustangs in and out. My husband's a pretty tall guy, so trying to get him inside of a restored Mustang that hasn't had the seat significantly moved back is a bit of a challenge. We've even had, restored wooden boats at our home up in Wisconsin. We've always really liked the feel, but we are comfort creatures. We're more about the more modern day amenities. So I think that when we start talking about restored vehicles or older vehicles, it's really been a challenge for us to find something that we have felt as comfortable in as we do currently in the Bronco, because it just hasn't had the modern amenities that we are so used to, especially when you get someplace like South Florida where the traffic is a little bit crazy and you need the ability to handle a vehicle that has the pickup and the maneuverability. So my husband knew that I was very impressed with and really wanted a classic Bronco. Every time we would be out and we would see one, I was kind of oohing and awing over them. He actually surprised me for this past summer and had me come over and sit down with him, and he's kind of not the come sit down, come hang out with me, let's talk about something kind of guy. He's like, I think this year for our anniversary, we're gonna buy each other a Bronco. I was like, okay. I'm like, one of the new ones? He's like, no. Oh, we're gonna get an old school Bronco. He's like, tell me the year you want. He's like, we're gonna sit down and spec this thing out together. And I really didn't know that he was looking at the Broncos or Velocity. It was kind of a surprise to me, and to tell him I was beyond excited, off the charts excited. So that was really more of, I think he was doing it for me for our anniversary. So while we call it our vehicle, we really started looking at it, I think, so he could gift me. I think from the time that we put in the order, I'll call it, and they started the build, the vehicle was definitely, it was ready probably before we were ready. We happened to be out of town, and Jared was ready to ship it to us at week 14, maybe even week 13, because we were pushing a little bit, knowing we were going out of town, asking if we could have it just before we left, because we were going to be gone for about a month, and we really wanted to receive it before our wedding anniversary. So, that timeline absolutely was happening, and maybe even when we pushed a bit, got it done a few days ahead of time. We did look at a couple other companies. I think we loved that it was still here in Florida, and it was close to us, and we knew if we wanted to or needed to, we could go see the vehicle. There are a couple others that my brother-in-law had suggested to my husband that we take a look at, and while they looked beautiful, as all of the Broncos do when they're restored. There's just a difference in, we really wanted the Coyote engine. That was a huge thing to my husband. My brother-in-law, who is an engineer and a big car guy, was pushing. He's like, that's the one you want, which, went a long way with my husband and I. And then just the quality of what we could see. And then along the way, we got to meet with Jared and really talk about and see the vehicle. And we knew that we'd made the right choice. While there was others, and we have friends who have another that they bought from another person. And it's beautiful. It's just not exactly what we wanted. When we saw the Velocity vehicle, we knew that was going to be the way to go. We looked at Velocity as far as what they could offer to us that some of the competitors could not. Obviously the customer service, the timeline up front, knowing exactly what we were getting for what we were paying for, and being able to spec this out from, the engine to the year to the colors, the interiors. It wasn't a pressured approach to buying the vehicle. It was more of we got to choose what we wanted to do, and we got to take the time to go through and pick things out and research them on our own. But when we had questions, we had the support behind it. That was something we were really looking for. I think that if we had felt that we were being pushed at all along the way to make certain choices, that we probably would have held back a bit. But that certainly wasn't an experience that we had. We had great support, and we knew that we were going to get a vehicle that was exactly what we wanted. Driving the vehicle the first time, just the way it responded and the way it handled was such a surprise to me, because I knew what was coming, but I didn't really expect it to have the power that it did, and for it to feel as comfortable as it did. Amazing power and amazing comfort that you wouldn't expect when you look at it. And I think that was what he and I both really were shocked at. Just the great customer care, the great customer follow-up, everything along the way, from not just the vehicle itself, but the responsiveness and staying in touch with us all along the way to make sure we felt comfortable with what we were buying. It was an exceptional experience that we couldn't recommend more highly. The Bronco it's almost a piece of art. It's amazing to look at it. I stand back sometimes and see it, and I can't believe that we have it. I can't believe that we own it. It's everything I wanted, and the performance and the beauty of it is indescribable, really. We've been surprised and felt that it was a bit unexpected as to how much more time we've had together, because we enjoy being in the vehicle. The freedom of being out running around. We aren't just feeling like we're hopping in our cars to go do our daily lives. This is something where, if I'm going to run out on a Tuesday night because we're going to go have dinner, we decide we're going to take the Bronco and go on a Tuesday night and go someplace cool that we hadn't been going before, where, we want to go together, and we're loving it. We absolutely love driving it. We're enjoying every minute of it.